How's it going? Welcome back to another great video with your host, The Savior. And today I just want to gush about something that I absolutely love. Now, often I talk about games that are, coming out with my early reviews or yearly reviews. If it's a game I absolutely love and I really want to do an in-depth analysis on it. And this is one of those games. It's something that you probably haven't heard of, but it's something that I think truly is special and it needs more attention. This is not sponsored or anything like that. I just really love this game. It's very addictive. So imagine Destiny, the gunplay of Destiny, a pretty solid foundation. And then imagine something like Dark Souls, okay? Combine those together and you pretty much have Witchfire.
So you see, it's just a relaxation. It's an
This game is its own unique experience, and I just have a massive blast playing it. It's one of those games that you can just pick up, play for a couple of hours, and then time just shoots by, but it's not something that you will get heavily invested in like a story-focused RPG. It's something that you can just pick up and play whenever you want, just satisfying gameplay. And sometimes that's what I want, I don't just want cinematic, story-driven games like with most modern-day gaming. I want a game focused purely on gameplay, and this is exactly what this is. This game is challenging, okay? So I'm gonna put that out there right off the bat. If you're not a fan of challenging games like Dark Souls, then you will not like this game, okay? Yes, you can dash around, so I guess that could be your dodge roll if you want to go that far. But at the end of the day, this is a first-person shooter, and obviously that's completely different from Soulslike gameplay with the combat anyway. But why I would say it's very Souls-like and why it calls itself a Souls-like is the way that the system actually works, the gameplay mechanics underneath it all, how you upgrade your character, what you want to stat into, and the kind of repetition nature of this type of game is very Souls-like. The way that you have to collect, in essence, souls to level up, and then if you die, then you have to go back and retrieve those souls. Now, I can't gush enough about the aesthetic of this game. It's absolutely beautiful, and it is still an early access game at this point, but the reason why I want to give you my Witchfire 2025 review and give you a detailed Witchfire review is simply because now I feel like it's actually in a perfect state to jump in for new players to actually give this a try. I've been playing it now for a couple of months, so I hope you enjoy this Witchfire 2025 review, my review of Witchfire, and why you need to play Witchfire in 2025, because I do feel like now is the perfect time to get in on this game. It's only going to get more releases, more updates later on this year, and to be honest, it's almost a complete package at this point. This game, first of all, let me just say, is so fluid, okay? It's so beautifully fluid. The graphics are absolutely stunning. This video will not do it justice. Play it on, high settings on your PC, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The detail of the textures and the landscapes, the lighting, it's absolutely beautiful, but that's not why I love this game so much. It's mostly because of the aesthetic, the palpable atmosphere and essence of dread as you go throughout this game is just so great. But aesthetically it's super pleasing. It's got a dark fantasy appeal to it.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
Wait. Now, rot.
I love the art design so much. It's, this unique blend of, Eastern European dark fantasy kind of medieval tone that I really love. And it does remind me a lot of Dark Souls / Bloodborne with its vibe, okay, and the enemy designs and all that stuff. So I'm going to give you my detailed analysis right now. I don't want this video to go on forever, but I've got a lot to say about this game just because I love it so much. I'm playing it constantly, and I'm going to talk about the new updates, what you actually get right now if you want to give it a try in 2025. But I honestly do think Witchfire in 2025 is the year to give it a chance. And like I said, it's not like other early access games where it doesn't feel finished, where it's buggy, and there's no good communication with the developers or anything like that. the community are actively involved in creating this game, and I really like that. That's something that you don't usually get to see. I still absolutely love this series of looking at some older games and bringing them up to date for the current year. So if you like that type of thing, and early reviews, video essays, philosophical content that I blend together, real life stuff and gaming subjects together on this channel, subscribe to the community right now. Become a wise one today. You don't want to miss out. This year is going to be massive for the channel. I've got so many big plans for this channel. I love making these videos, and I love the connection with my community, with the wise ones. You make it all worth it, honestly. And I just love doing OG YouTube. You know, I'm not here to try and grab your Mr. Beast retention and shove a Feastables up your ass, okay? I just do it because I love it. So if you love old school YouTube, subscribe to the channel, support me by dropping a thanks or checking out my music on Spotify. I would appreciate it a lot. Or by becoming a member to get access to extra content. For Witchfire 2025 review, let's go, let's get into this. So I've already talked about why the game is pleasing to look at, okay? Graphically, it's amazing. The art style, I absolutely love it. And I've already talked briefly about the Souls mechanics. So now I'm going to go into the gameplay elements, what I love about it, what I dislike about it. And then towards the end of the video, I'll talk about all the updates, what the game is currently like now, and what's coming later, and all that stuff, okay? So, first of all, the gunplay feels absolutely amazing. Buttery smooth, like Destiny, but it has so much weight and impact to all of your shots. It just feels very satisfying to pull off headshots and all that stuff. This is a very difficult game, okay? Very difficult. It will take you a long time to master the gameplay, but when you do master it and you can clear a whole horde of enemies, or, you know, go into a dungeon and clear it successfully using all of your different powers and stuff like that, whatever build that you're speccing into, it's so satisfying. But it is a steep learning curve because enemies can basically, you know, kill you in a couple of hits. You have these melee enemies that will jump towards you, do a lunging attack with a sword. The first boss is kind of that nature. And then you have, you know, lots of different other enemy types, kind of the grunts that will just try and shoot you from a distance or try and stab you up close. You'll have enemy types that will chuck magic grenades basically at you. These horrible giant floating skull things that will come crashing down on you. So many different enemy types here, so you don't really get bored with the variation of enemy types here. And the combat is just so satisfying. I can't really stress that enough. You just gotta play it. It's so fast. You're always on your feet. You've always got to think tactically because it's not one of those games where you can take a lot of damage. It is truly a Souls-like shooter, much better than Remnant if you ask me. So what is the purpose of this game? What is the point of Witchfire? Okay, well, the story is quite simple basically. There's a witch and you need to go kill her ass because she's screwing everything up in this world, okay? And no, this isn't some Harry Potter shit, okay? This witch is dangerous, okay? And she wants to suck your soul, and she wants to destroy absolutely everything. And basically, to get towards the final witch fight, which isn't in the game at the moment, you've got to clear different areas and the bosses in that area. Now, originally, okay, you would actually go into there and you could just jump straight into the boss battle if you knew where the boss was. Now, I think they've updated it, so you actually have to clear all of the enemies in the map before fighting the boss. So it's going to be even more difficult, but the balancing is much better than what it was before with some enemies and the weapons that you're using and all that stuff. So the reason why it's so Souls-like is because there is a lot of repetition, okay? You're going to basically be doing the same run over and over and over again for a long time until you've mastered that area. You can basically grind as much as you want until you feel comfortable with your abilities, okay? To then progress to the next map, okay? And at the moment there are 3 maps, I believe, and the hub area, so 4 in total, okay? But they are going to add more in the future, but these locations are very dense, okay? And there's a lot to discover. They've got mini dungeons in them that you have to unlock, and the main boss, different mob areas, and basically on the map it will highlight, you know, if it's like the danger level of that enemy group, if it's like a light danger level or a medium or a high level dangerous group of enemies. And basically you have to go and clear them, and they will drop certain loot, ammo, resources. You don't pick up actual guns and loot from killing enemies or anything like that, but basically what you do get is experience, the souls from them, and then you need to extract to a portal. Once you've successfully cleared a group of enemies, a crystal will appear, and basically this is how you change up the run and the gameplay each time you do a run, because after you've killed a mob of enemies, you get to then stat into this random thing that changes every single time that you go into the map. And basically these are little boosters to help you along in the current run that you are on. They might give you an extra potion slot, a health potion. They might cool down your magic faster so you can use the abilities more often, give you critical chances, or shock damage, burn damage, all that kind of stuff. So it basically just changes up the run each time, which I really like. So like I said, you don't actually pick up loot from the enemies themselves. So what do you do? Okay, well, once you've extracted, it's basically an extraction shooter with a Souls-like coat of paint with the gunplay of Destiny. Okay, so if that sounds like your cup of tea, then yeah, doesn't get better than this. The gameplay is frantic as hell, and it's very difficult, like I said, but it makes it even more satisfying to master and to clear the bosses. Okay, and the bosses are no pushovers, that's for sure. But basically what you need to do is, once you've got a bunch of souls together, you need to extract to a portal. The original portal that you come through to begin with will stay open, but it only stays open for a certain amount of time. So then you need to find another extraction point, and that will of course encounter a lot of enemies usually, so you need to be aware of that, managing how much health potions you have and all that kind of stuff, how much ammo. Ammo is not just like an easy thing to get. You really need to be on the lookout for ammo from enemies or from chests that is littered around the maps to basically give you a special weapon ammo type. Like you get these special weapons, and then you get two main weapons. But a special weapon can be like a crossbow that when you shoot it, it literally splits off like in Guardians of the Galaxy and whistles around to basically kill all the other surrounded enemies. You can have a blunderbuss, you can have all kinds of things. So basically, when you come back to your home base, you need to allocate these souls, these points and resources into leveling up your character, okay? Basically the standard thing, like how fast you regenerate health, how much health you have, how much stamina you have, how fast your magic basically refills itself, all of the basic stuff, and a stat called luck, I think. Very Souls-like, how much souls you will get after killing an enemy type, very Souls-like in that regard. But then you have this research station, and you can basically, if you have the resources, if you have the gold, if you have all the other resources, you can actually, research into new weapon types, into new magic spells, all of this kind of stuff, all this stuff to basically make your gear even more powerful and strong. And then each weapon has a kind of subclass to that weapon, which gives it an extra effect once you've completed, a certain amount of kills, or, whatever the kind of side quest for that weapon type is to unlock its true potential. So there's a lot to do here. There's a lot to do, which I really think makes it feel fresh, even though you are going over the same map quite often. So some of the reasons why I think Witchfire in 2025 is the perfect time to get in on this game, well, they've changed a lot with the recent updates. Okay, so first of all, when I started playing it, it was quite basic. Now your hub has different weather effects, a proper day and night cycle, which I really love. That changes up the feeling a lot. It's just so soulsy, the kind of the feeling of when you're like at Majula or at any of the Dark Souls hubs. You get that in Witchfire at your hub. They've added things like incense. So now when you're back and you've collected some resources across the map, some plants and stuff, which is a bit annoying, but it's not like a crafting game, so don't worry about that. But if you pick up some of these plants and stuff, now they have an actual use for them, because you can burn incense, which will actually give you a boost of your health or your stamina or whatever for the next run. They have all of these different upgradable paths, which I really like. Even in your hub, you have to unlock new areas of your hub at a certain point once you've, mastered the kind of higher magic to basically progress throughout your hub area and to unlock even more stuff. So there's always a good sense of progression, okay? The bosses themselves are amazing, and each map, and even though the map itself is the same, it randomly changes where the enemies are, what random events will occur. And of course, the big feature of Witchfire is you are exploring these maps, okay, clearing out these different mob types and all that stuff, and sometimes you will come across a random item, okay, and you can decide to cleanse that item and to take it with you as a good, valuable resource that will give you some kind of increase in whatever stat. but basically there's a chance that if you take it, you will get cursed, okay? The witch will curse you. That's when shit goes to hell, okay? The sky will turn red, and basically a random, special, more dangerous enemy type will come after you. I mean, there's some crazy shit in this game. You can literally have a flying pirate ship come out from the sky and just bombard you with bombs. Like, it's absolutely insane, and I just really love the idea of all of these different things, you know, working on top of each other to make it feel truly random, even though you are playing on the same map. So just like in Dark Souls, when you first start Witchfire, okay, you're going to choose from a different, you know, set of classes, but actually it doesn't really matter that much, just like in Dark Souls, because it's just kind of a starting point, okay? You can shape your character however you want by leveling into these different stats, okay? So that doesn't really matter. It just gives you a kind of, you know, baseline for what kind of playstyle you want. If you want to be focused on magic, you know, or casting a lot of spells in a short amount of time, or if you want to be more tanky and go up straight to enemies with a goddamn shotgun, you can do that, or just be more sneaky and snipe enemies from a far off distance, all of this stuff. And this isn't even a gameplay mechanic. Well, I guess it is, but what I love about Witchfire is the freedom, okay? So it's like one of those old school games in the best possible ways, where it doesn't just box you in, you know, obviously you can't exit the map, but pretty much you can do whatever you want in this map, and enemies will chase you across the map, so you can have a random dynamic fights wherever you want. You have the ability straight away to double jump, which feels very old school, but it's so great. There's no, like, you know, hidden walls. You can literally climb on absolutely everything. You can just scale up mountains, like, you know, kind of Skyrim fashion. And I just love that freedom, because it makes gunplay so much more satisfying when you can decide where you want to do the gunfight and all that stuff. It's just such a goddamn solid game. You really gotta give it a try. So to round off this Witchfire 2025 review, okay, like I said, there's already a lot to do here. You know, it feels polished. It already feels like a full released game's better than, you know, AAA games that get released, honestly. They just are adding to it and changing up the gameplay sometimes, and that's exciting. You know, I usually don't support early access, but when a game does it this well, it's hard not to see the benefits of early access to actually shape what this game is becoming. I think that's really cool, and they've just added a lot to it. They keep adding a lot to it. Like I said, you get 3 big maps right now to explore, different bosses to fight. They're all very challenging, and it will take you a long time to get to that point where you feel comfortable to even fight a boss. The only thing that's really missing in Witchfire, I would say, is a connection to the world, okay? The reason why Dark Souls is so special and it will stand the test of time is because they built up that universe with, you know, the actual philosophy, the lore, the metaphysics behind everything, having gameplay mechanics explained in lore, reasons, you know, going hollow, rekindling the bonfire, all of that stuff, you know, everything has an explanation, you know, what Estus even is and all that stuff. That's why I love Dark Souls. The Witchfire game, as of right now, doesn't really have any of that. It's a very ambiguous world space, okay? But it's still so fun gameplay-wise that I guess if you're like me, that might bother you, but it won't stop you from enjoying this game. Also, of course, I forgot to mention, you have things like talismans and stuff like that, and they just add different effects. So with all of these different things, the weapon types that you choose to bring with you, the talisman, which will, you know, give you some kind of extra boost. For example, I think my current playstyle is like I chain electric shock attacks when there's enough enemies you know, next to each other. So, you know, that incentivizes me to play kind of close quarters, casting a lot of magic, and then I can cast this giant ice freeze ball around me. You know, there is a way to actually really focus on your unique playstyle and have different builds for different situations, and I really love that. And just the gunplay is just so goddamn satisfying. I don't know what else to say. It's just really satisfying to play, and the enemy types are always different. There's a lot of enemy variation in this game, enough that you don't get bored. It's an absolute stunner and a joy to explore these kind of medieval ruins. I think it is still a little bit repetitive. They need to add more random, you know, things to increase every time that you go into the same map, that it feels a little bit different. Even, you know, weather changes, stuff like that would add a great deal if you ask me. But at this point, I just think Witchfire is the perfect game if you're looking for that type of hardcore first-person solo experience to really test your abilities and all of that stuff. It's not an easy game, but it is a goddamn satisfying game just to pick up and play now and then. It's got all the Soulsy stuff that you would expect, you know, finding a merchant, doing trading with that merchant and stuff like that. It feels quite ripped out of Dark Souls, but in a good way. But the combat itself just sets it apart from other games completely, so it doesn't really feel like a Souls-like. It feels like it's doing its own unique thing. And yeah, like I said, with the updates, they just keep changing it. Now it feels very balanced, much more fair. Originally, it was even more difficult. They've added a lot more content to it. Another map will be coming out soon with its own unique boss. And they just keep, you know, adding quality of life improvements to it. And I just love the progression path of, you know, as you progress and clear out bosses, it unlocks your potential to go back to the other maps and basically explore further, because there are some things that you just cannot see unless if your magic, I can't remember what it's called, your magic level is high enough to basically, you know, figure out the mystery of that area. And I think that's really cool, and that does add replayability to it, and it just feels like you are constantly unlocking something, because there's always, you know, higher tiers to uncover until the end game, and that's what makes this game so great. Also, the magic abilities are just super cool as hell, you know, having a giant ice ball surround you, shooting up a bell into the sky and shooting it to stun enemies. Very unique stuff. This is what I want to see in gaming. This is sad that it just doesn't get the attention it deserves. You know, games like this is why creative and passion actually matters with video games, and it's something that I want to draw attention to and cover. So I do hope you enjoyed this Witchfire 2025 review, and you need to play Witchfire in 2025. I honestly think that this game is the perfect state right now to jump in and give it a try, and it's not even that expensive. It's just incredible that this is made by a small studio, and man, I would love to work on a game like this because it's absolutely incredible. So I don't know how many people will be watching this video. It's not, you know, a very popular game, and it wasn't sponsored. I just wanted to talk about a game that I found, a hidden gem that I think is absolutely amazing, especially if you love Dark Souls games. This is definitely the best Souls shooter I've ever played. Much better than other games claiming to be Souls-like shooters like Remnant and all that stuff. So I do hope you enjoyed this Witchfire 2025 review, something that I just wanted to make. Let me know your thoughts about this game if you're gonna try it out. And what you think of this type of creativity in gaming. Please let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Stay wise and look after yourself. Peace out.